All right. Hello, everybody. I think we are live now. Let's just see who's in the chat here first before I introduce our guest today. Let's see. I see Kobo Dock, Ma Cult, and Khalid. Welcome, everybody. How you all doing? All right. All right, Dave. I'll go ahead and introduce you in a second here. So, everybody, I've got Dave Liu with me. He's the creator of this awesome comic, Dreams of Ultraviolence, which I highly recommend to everybody, and we'll get into why. Um, let's see, and I've got some of his work here up on the display. So, David, I'm going to go ahead and let you introduce yourself. Go ahead and tell us your background as an artist and animator, what got you into what you make, and why you create what you do.
My name is David Liu. I live in Copenhagen. I grew up here. I am 18 years old, and right now I go to school, and I've been doing that always. So I'm not technically I'm not actually an artist, but it's what I want to do with my life. So I take it very seriously. But as of right now, it's only like a hobby, even though I put a lot of work into it. And I started with comics in January 2021. I One of my comics got published in like an anthology, and the guy who did it, he was very nice to me, and he said like he liked my stuff and he wanted to do a solo comic with me. So I did the Dreams of Ultraviolence that you just showed us, and we got that published early this year. But I drew it in like summer last year, like a year ago. And I do basically what I do is a cartoon, which I spent like from 6 months to a year. And then in between that, I draw comics. So before the Dreams of Ultraviolence, I did a cartoon called They Say You're a Wise Guy, which is like a black and white cartoon animated short about a gangster he thinks he's gonna get killed, and then something else happens. And then since I did the Dreams of Ultraviolence comic, I've been doing a new animation, and it should come out, I think, tomorrow actually. And the comic you're showing right now is what I've been kind of doing on and off since the cartoon has been finished. So the last cartoon, it took me a year, and that's pretty much all I've been working on, and now I'm doing this.
Nice. Yeah, and we might we might watch David's cartoon, So You're a Wise Guy, on the stream here. I'll probably like save that to maybe a little bit further into the show and
Yeah.
stuff when some more folks are here to check it out. So who are some of your influences? Because I've noticed, like, looking at your stuff, like I get the kind of feel that, I don't know, I'm reminded of a few things. Um, definitely lots of Hong Kong action films.
Mm.
A lot of like very like 19s, I don't know, 60s to 80s gangster type stuff. It doesn't feel like it takes place in the 2000s.
Mm. You froze.
Oh, I froze.
Yeah.
Oh,
Now we're good now. Yeah, yeah.
okay, cool. Yeah.
Yeah, but I would say,
Sometimes the connection can be a little weird. Yeah, I just wanted to say, like, it feels like it's from a specific period almost, but it's
yeah.
kind of hard to nail down. So what can you say about that?
Well, I think, like, generally to what you're saying is like I like the old stuff better than like I think the generation we're in now, there's none of the stories are there's no like there's nothing worth telling about like people with iPhones and MacBooks, and everything is like the internet and like all this political stuff. I don't care about that at all. Like I
Yeah.
really I like um I really like American, like very Americana, everything from like Thomas Pynchon to John Wayne to um, the Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. And I think it's because I grew up in Denmark, so we have this like idealized Hollywood movie version of America, and I just want to like express that. And then in terms of like the comic book style, I'm very like I think it's pretty clear I'm very influenced by Jeff Darrow. Like he was like when I found out about him, that was like my some kind of like spiritual awakening. And then of course he was very influenced and taught by Mobius, and I think Mobius is the greatest of all time.
Yeah, Kobo Dock in the chat, who's one of my guys, says it's kind of like a combination of Hong Kong action and Mobius. I can definitely get that feel. Like, I mean, you do like the really like the super clean line style that
Yeah.
Mobius did, which I tried doing that for a while and I just could not hack it. It was always a mess when I did it. But like even like with your stuff, like even though it might look like it's I don't know, it's controlled like wiggliness or something. Whereas
Yeah.
when I tried to do it, it was just wiggly and it just didn't have any rhyme or reason to it. Um I what you said about like you're kind of depicting a sort of like a European idea or overseas idea of America. Like I actually really like that. It kind of reminds me of like, I grew up reading like 2000 AD comics and stuff. Like I didn't
Mm,
read that much like Marvel or DC stuff,
mm.
comics as a kid. Like I was usually reading Judge Dredd, Slain. Actually, no, I didn't get into Slain until later. And ABC Warriors and stuff. And I always was fascinated with how like British comic artists
Mm.
or French comic artists or manga artists, like what their idea of America was like.
Yeah, yeah,
And it was always way cooler. It felt cooler than the reality, but it still felt true. It may not have been factual, but it was true
yeah, yeah,
somehow.
yeah.
And what you're doing kind of feels the same. Like there's one particular, let's see, this one right here. Like
Mm.
this is like yeah, this is exactly like what I'm talking about. Um I like when it comes to like how you write stories, like I also got a little bit of like a Tarantino sort of vibe, especially from this, like in the sense that
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
kind of like you're sort of like telling a story about film.
yeah,
It's not just a straight up story. It's like a
yeah,
story within a story, but you weren't doing it as like a ooh, look at what a creative writer I am. Like it wasn't a gimmick or something. Like
yeah.
there was an actual like I don't know, actual reason for it. So like I don't what can you tell us about like the production behind this and like what was inspiring you and in making Dreams of Ultraviolence?
But like, I've always really liked Tarantino, and I think a lot of guys now they're kind of apologetic about it, or they say like he's mainstream or he's like overrated somehow. But I think like Tarantino is one of the best, at least right now, because he has all this stuff about like genre and the pulpy and like the over the top. Like he's very good at like the pizzazz, right? Of like the showmanship and all this. But that's just like to me, that's like the surface level. But what he's really good at is writing characters, and that sounds very strange because you don't think about that when you're watching Kill Bill or Django or something. But like somebody like Hans Landa in Glorious Bastards, like just the way he plays with the Brad Pitt and all those guys. Sometimes you see that in people and you recognize that's like the way he manipulates them is the same way that somebody in real life manipulates. And sometimes you're being manipulated or sometimes you're the one manipulating, and you can kind of recognize these small, very small um character like mannerisms in people that you see in his movies, but they're hidden beneath all of this like um his all of this like movie nerdy stuff. But like at the core it's still about characters, and that's what I really like about him. And of course he's so good at like bringing joy, and you can really feel like his enthusiasm for the thing he's trying to like pay homage to. And that's what I tried to do again with this with the comic Dreams of Ultraviolence. And I like the first part originally it was just gonna be the first part and then some other random story where it's also just like bullshit, right? Um, and the first part was inspired by a China or a Cantonese comedian named Stephen Chow. I don't know if you know him, but he made a movie called Kung Fu Hustle, and the town that the comic takes place in is basically like I just straight up stole that from that, and then it's a lot of like and the baby, right? The like the side he has in the comic he has he has a wait. Let me show you.
Yeah, here I'll hold it up to the camera
Yeah.
here. So, well, I don't know if people are going to be able to see it, but here I'll just give it a shot while you continue.
Yeah, but basically, like the main cop detective guy, his sidekick is a baby, right? And it's from there's a Hong Kong movie by John Woo called Hardboiled. It's pretty well known, and
Oh yeah.
it's this like it's fairly serious, and there's no comedy at all basically, and it's but the poster is completely ridiculous because it's the main guy holding a baby and a shotgun, and there's a scene in the movie where he rescues a bunch of babies, but I don't know why they chose
Oh,
that.
I remember that
Yeah,
scene. Yeah.
yeah. I just thought like that looks so stupid, but also funny that it would make a great character for this. So the first part of the comic was basically like all this absurd comedy mixed with Japanese yakuza ninja samurai stuff, and just like John Woo of like pages and pages of just shooting and killing and fighting all this stuff. And of course, the twist is ridiculous with the guy they're trying to rescue. His twin brother is the same guy as the bad, something like that. And originally, I was gonna do part two of it was gonna be another story like that, right? And then I don't know. I felt it was kind of I don't know. I wanted to do something with um have you seen Michael Mann's Thief?
I don't think so. No. No, I'm
No,
not
but
familiar with that.
basically it's just like the second story is basically like the visual aesthetic is pretty much taken entirely from that. And then I was doing this I just finished the They Say You're a Wise Guy, the cartoon, right?
Yeah.
And I just been doing a lot of animation, and I I don't know, it's like I see the Mishima poster in your bag,
Oh,
and
you're familiar.
yeah.
Nice.
And have you seen Paul Schrader's other movies?
No, I haven't actually. Oh, like what are some of them that I might have heard of or that you'd recommend?
Taxi Driver, like the
Oh,
yeah,
duh. Yeah. I
yeah,
have seen Taxi Driver. I freaking love that.
yeah. But even Mishima also, it's like all of Paul Schrader's movies, or not all of them, but like a lot of them about these like lonely people, like lonely men mostly, who are very like self-obsessed, and is in Mishima's case, he's like this artist who's like he's a little bit nuts, but also very like self-aggrandizing, and but at the same time like tragically lonely, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So I took like the visual aesthetic of the Michael Mann Thief stuff, and then the Paul Schrader kind of like monologue of this guy who really pities himself a lot, because I started a little bit to realize, not called what's it called, recognize like the worst part of myself while I was doing the dream. So not the dream, the Wise Guy cartoon. A little bit of that in myself, and I just thought that was very interesting. And also this thing with like I when I animate, like I put a lot of effort into it, right? But I have almost no followers, so maybe in total like 200 people see the stuff I do. So like
Which is a
sometimes I
damn shame.
would yeah. So like the part of me that's like a small, jealous, pity man, like I kind of recognize that, and I thought put that into the comic. And also I thought it was a good contrast with like the first part is so light and fun, and like just over the top. And the second part, it's still ridiculous. Like the plot is completely ridiculous, but there's more like of myself, like my own personal connection with the second part, I think.
Oops. Yeah, I think there was a brief little connection hiccup on my end. You were talking about like seeing part of yourself
Yeah, yeah,
in what you were writing. Anyways, I guess rewind a little bit. Say what you were saying there.
yeah. I was just saying, like, the second part, even though it's still ridiculous and the plot is like very stupid, I think there's more of my own voice in that, or like it's like closer to me because I'm not a cop who fights the yakuza with a baby sidekick. Yeah,
Yeah.
and also like the main guy, he's literally an animator, so it's not that like I didn't hide it that much.
Yeah, I know what you mean though about like kind of finding yourself in the stories you're making. I mean, like I can certainly
Mm,
relate to that with my own graphic novel, which started as kind of a originally as like a therapy project, you could say.
mm,
It's interesting though, like you talk about how in your stories, like in your comics, your artwork and stuff like that. You're dealing with themes around like lonely, angsty, maybe people might consider pathetic
yeah,
seeming
yeah,
like
definitely. Yeah.
guys. And like I actually like I find that fascinating because like right now, like I feel like any kind of nuanced or even positive depiction of male loneliness
Yeah.
and what kind of things flawed men do in those situations is so
Yeah.
stigmatized in pop culture and entertainment, at least in the US, where it's
Yeah. Yeah.
like, it's like any kind of depiction of it is,
Mm,
has to be like nitpicked and critiqued to
mm.
pieces as like, I don't know, like, oh, it's toxic masculinity or something
But they
like
just
that,
don't
which
do it. Like they just don't show that part of people.
no, and it's like
Yeah.
and I think part of what I really love about your work is that like I can tell that there is a real human being behind it. You're not acting like it doesn't feel like the characters that you are writing and stuff, even though like I can tell like yeah, you're inspired by
Mm,
Tarantino, uh, Hong Kong action flicks and stuff like that. You're not like you're not just like wearing the skin suit of those genres.
mm.
It's not like the problem you have that I've seen in a lot of mainstream animation right now, where everybody
Yeah.
is. It's like there's no more outsiders coming into LA anymore. It's all
Yeah.
people who, well, a lot of people who've like just never left LA or their Brooklyn bubble, and so like their entire mannerism library, they got it from like I don't know, watching witty Netflix shows and to the
Yeah.
point where their facial language
Yeah.
in real life looks like Pixar characters or something. It's really
Yeah.
disturbing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I think that like, when I see stuff like this, like what you're doing, where it's like there's a certain like vitality to it that I really appreciate. Like I think I found your work on Newgrounds
Mm.
originally. Like I was just browsing around there and I was just freaking blown away by what I saw. So I think I'll also show everybody. So they say you're a wise guy in a few minutes here. Before I feature that, what can you tell us about that? Like, what were some of the inspirations behind it? What was it like making it? Anything you want to say about that?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it was a long time ago, but I can kind of give you like how I came up with it. So the at first it was just gonna be like I saw them. Have you seen Miller's Crossing by the Coen brothers?
I did a long time ago.
Yeah, yeah. Do you remember the scene where what's his name? I can't remember his name. The guy who plays Jesus in The Big Lebowski. He like
Yeah,
he's taken, yeah, he's taken to a forest and he's about to get killed, and then he just like, and up until this point you've only seen him be normal and collected and stuff, and then when he knows he's gonna get killed, he goes completely insane and he's like, ah, you're not an animal, all this stuff, ah, don't kill me, all this stuff, right? And originally the cartoon was just gonna be about this guy who tries to convince uh, the guy who's gonna like the gang about a gangster who tries to convince the guy who's gonna whack him like, please don't kill me, right? It was just gonna be the speech right before he gets shot, and then something was gonna happen. I can't remember.
Mm.
And then I was gonna do it and I was gonna record because back then I didn't have actors, so I did it myself. That's why it sounds kind of stupid. And the
I know, I love it. I love that you do all your own voice acting.
no, I know I don't think it was good, but so I was practicing the monologue, and then I thought, okay, instead of him doing it like in the short, like actually doing, what if we see him practice it before, so that makes it, I don't even know what it does, but I just really like that idea. Like I thought that was really funny. Like a guy who knows he's gonna get killed, and then he's like, yeah, you just don't see that. Um, and then he goes out, and then he finds out that the guy who was gonna kill him, he actually already got killed. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, like I just want to say, like, I think like I think it's actually great that you do like all your own voice acting. Like, it adds just, I don't know, it just adds such a great texture to it. Like, I don't know, it brings back like memories of when, like, I don't, I used to, I would, I had like a crappy tape recorder and I would record like my own fake little radio shows or whatever to amuse myself,
yeah,
as a kid. Except like this is way more sophisticated. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and put it up on the screen here.
yeah,
All right, folks. I posted a link in the chat in case any of you want to watch it on your own browsers. Otherwise, I'm gonna put it on my screen here. You know what? Let me make sure that the audio can route in. One second. I just realized that I'm not sure if it will audio capture as well. Or let me just check. Let's see.
yeah. This is gonna be strange to watch. I haven't seen it for like a year. I haven't seen it since I posted it.
Yeah, let me try actually just sharing it as a video file if that's possible. Well, actually, if it'll let me download it. So I'm so used to using Streamlabs,
Mm,
which lets me do like a desktop audio capture, that I totally didn't think about like how to get the audio capture on this. Let me just see. Give me 1 second. Audio. Hmm. Dang, I don't think it's gonna let me
yeah.
do an audio capture. Well, shoot. I posted a link to the cartoon in the chat, everybody. I'm just gonna try to see if it'll, I don't know. Let me know if, are you able to hear anything coming in from this?
No.
Okay, bummer. Shoot. Well, that's a note for next
Yeah,
time. I'll make
it's
sure to
fine.
get the audio figured out next time.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody go check out the link I posted in the chat. It's freaking awesome. It's hilarious. Like, there's a lot of like little subtle stuff in there that's excellent. Um,
Thanks.
so how did you get familiar with Yukio Mishima? Because it's always
Uh,
interesting to me whenever I bump into other artists who appreciate him.
um, I don't know. I watched. I just came across it. I can't just like on the internet or something, and then I saw it. Yeah, he's a very interesting guy. Have you read
Oh
his
yeah.
books?
I have, yeah. It's his book Sun and Steel is actually very influential for me early on. Have you read
What?
that one?
No, I haven't. I've only seen the movie. Like, yeah,
Oh, the movie's great. Yeah, the Paul Schrader film.
yeah,
Awesome soundtrack too by
yeah, yeah,
Philip
yeah, yeah,
Glass.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I love it. I love all the. I'm just like looking at all the little things going on in this. It's like a Where's Waldo book or something. I just saw that the Big Lebowski guys in there.
Yeah.
Oh man. Um no, so Mishima's Sun and Steel, it's basically like his, I mean, it's very poetically long-winded written, but it's him talking about how in order to complete himself as an artist, he had to
Mm.
take up bodybuilding
Yeah,
and
yeah,
kendo and martial arts and stuff.
yeah.
And I related to that a lot because like growing up, like I was a kind of a weak kid. I grew up getting pretty I was always getting in fist fights and stuff and winning very few of them. And and as I started drawing in my late teens and 20s, I plunged myself so deep into artwork and stuff, but at the same time I felt like I was missing something by,
Yeah.
living behind a desk like 10 hours a day. And so I ran off and joined the Marines, and at a time when there were two major wars going on.
Mm.
And I didn't like at the time I didn't fully understand why I was doing it other than I knew I needed to do it. But when I read Mishima's Sun and Steel, like a lot of things clicked. He talks
Mhm.
about how uh even though he was a really like this celebrated playwright and author and poet and celebrity and all this, he
Yeah.
didn't feel like he was fully real as an artist. Like I
Mm.
don't know, he needed to make himself part of his artwork. And
Yeah.
by doing that, he, tried to seek out these kind of like martial uh virtues and disciplines, through taking up fighting
Yeah.
sports and weightlifting and stuff like that, making himself look like the kind of character that he would want to depict or present
Mm.
to the world. And so I didn't
Mm.
like understand a lot of that stuff early on,
Mm.
when I was, kind of going through my own personal arc. But yeah, when I read Sun and Steel, like a lot, I don't know, some people find the book kind of boring. I found it absolutely riveting.
Mm.
So I don't know. You might get something out of that. Like I mean, you've probably noticed this too, but it's just I just feel like there's very few artists out there who have experienced, like a real human existence, like, taking a punch to the face or just having like great defeats or great losses and stuff like that. And I think the quality of current storytelling is really showing that.
Yeah. Yeah, and also, like, I remember from the movie the pictures of him being a like a bud like the pictures he took after he were doing bodybuilding, right? Like he was like this very like sculptured, muscular man, and this kind of like the way he sees himself. And I think to some extent, every artist a little bit like the part of you that's like egotistical. Your art is kind of compensation for something you feel like you maybe lack in yourself. I don't know if you agree with that or
Yeah, I definitely think so. Like, um, I mean, what I think I see you doing is like, you depict. Sorry, I got something fuzzy stuck in my mouth. Um, like you depict characters that are flawed, but not unlikable either.
Mm,
Like, it's like I don't know. I was thinking like recently, like, there's you don't depict idealized characters. I think I like to depict idealized characters, at least like in how I visually design
mm,
them and stuff, but I like to, give them like actual flaws. But
yeah,
with
yeah,
your stuff, like you're going with very realistic, like, oh yeah, these could be characters in a film in the 70s kind of
mm,
physical appearance, but their
yeah,
personalities are like they remind you of weird people you might have met in real
yeah,
life and stuff like that. And it's hard to pin because it's like, I can't necessarily like watch one of your cartoons and go like, "Oh, that reminds me of this particular guy I know." It's
yeah,
just you've experienced moments kind of like that. Like
yeah,
so they say you're a wise guy where towards the end, after the main dude like realizes he's actually not going to get killed, but the guy who was trying to scare him
yeah,
just says like, just you're a bit much sometimes. Just
yeah,
take it down a notch. And I'm like,
yeah,
it's just this little thing, but just the way it leads up to it. I'm like, man, I feel like I've been in that situation so many times. Like whether that's, when I
yeah,
had to, lead a small unit of other guys, and there would always be that one guy who's like just,
yeah,
a little bit of a spaz, and you just kind of have to tell him like, dude, just like tone it down a little bit.
yeah, yeah. I'm very happy to hear that like you notice this, because when I after I'd finished it, also with the new cartoon, I worry like I to me it feels like it's too short to make that, to like for the audience to be able to make that like realization, like the fact that you can connect to it and like see that. I don't know. I didn't think people would be able to, because it's like too short for you to latch on to the characters.
I don't know. I see that's the thing. Like I think being able to like get the audience to connect with the characters in a short amount of time is a real skill.
Mm.
I mean, you've probably heard of this book called Save the Cat, where
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, it's like, basically for anybody who's not familiar, the whole Save the Cat premise is in story writing, particularly with film, but this can apply for
yeah. Mm.
comics and novels and stuff too. Um, you need to establish who your protagonist is you're supposed to connect with. Like, you have to show them is really, really early on
Mm.
doing something that establishes an empathy connection with them. So the term
Mm.
save the cat is like if you wanted to use like just the dumbest, most straightforward, simple example of like how to uh get the audience clued in on who your protagonist is in the story, you would just show them in the very first scene, show them like saving a kitten or something before it gets run over or something. So from then on, we know, oh, this is a good guy, this is a good girl.
Mhm.
We like them.
Yeah.
Even though like you don't use like a save the cat moment, you're extremely good at little just, I don't know, little appealing charismatic cues in just a matter of seconds that make you care about the character that's being depicted.
Mm.
And that says a lot considering like Amazon just blew $1 billion on a on a series where so far I'm 2 hours into watching a pirated Russian copy of it, and I
Yeah,
have not met a single character that I
yeah,
like.
yeah,
It's like, look, it's like you're doing animations on a ramen budget that with
yeah.
characters that I'm more engaged by than the freaking world's biggest mega corporation can,
Yeah,
cook
yeah.
up.
Yeah, I'm very glad to hear that. I think you're gonna like my next cartoon, because it's like it's everything you're describing, but amped up to like 11. And the main guy in that, I'm not even sure he's likable, but I do think like it was unintentional, and I think I maybe have like overdone it, that you weren't you're not technically in the end of the next cartoon that comes out tomorrow. You're not supposed to like him or like empathize with
Yeah,
him,
empathize.
but I think just because he's kind of based on myself, that I couldn't help but it's like the camera takes like a liking to him, and it kind of pities him a little bit. And I don't want my things to be like poor me. I try to be as honest about him. Like I try to make him as unlikable as possible. But maybe I don't know if the next one it comes off maybe a little melodramatic in the end. I don't know. I really don't hope so. But like my intention was to make him as, because he's put in a very awkward situation and he gets like very anxious, and it comes off maybe a little bit like you're supposed to feel bad for him, but you're not. Like that's not the idea
Right.
in the
No,
next one.
I think that's pretty cool though. Like, and I'm really interested to see it.
Yeah, I think you're gonna
Where
like
is
it.
it going to be posted to? Is it going to be on Newgrounds or YouTube, or where exactly?
I'll put it on Newgrounds and YouTube. Yeah,
Okay, cool. So whenever that goes up, I'm gonna edit the video information here to have
yeah.
the link to that, so you all know to check it out, and I'll definitely be sharing it on social media as well.
Thanks.
No, I think that's pretty cool though. Like, basing like the main character off of yourself, and not necessarily like the best parts of yourself.
Yeah,
Like,
the absolute worst parts of
yeah,
my.
it's like you're writing from what you know.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I mean, I kind of do the same thing where it's like, I
Mm,
mean, pretty much all or most of my characters are like kind of like fragments of myself,
mm,
including, the villains, the bad characters, because it's like, I've got my own ugly side,
Yeah, of
you
course. Yeah.
know, the shadow self or whatever. And that's, I think being able to write or draw or tell stories from that,
Yeah.
with a little bit of, wearing your heart on your sleeve a little bit makes for just better storytelling
Mm.
overall. Like I could go on forever about like how much stuff out there is, made by people who will act online like, like, oh, I'm so positive and helpless and cute and ho, ho, ho,
Yeah.
I'm just a small creator and all this. And you peel back the layers a little bit, and behind like all the cutesy kind of
Yeah.
fangless subject matter, you find out that they're actual like kind of dangerous psychopaths
Yeah.
who would like if it were a different decade, they'd probably be, wearing the skin suit of their exes or something like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think that like that kind of honesty that you depict in your work, uh, I don't know. I think that's what I really like about it. It's again, it all ties back to that this was made by a real human being kind of feeling.
Thanks. Also, I think it's not even like necessarily, it's not about saying like this guy's a bad person or
Right.
showing the parts of yourself that you think is like bad or inferior somehow. It's more about like we've all been in very uncomfortable situations on like right in life and just socially and all this stuff. And we've all made very I think we've all done very embarrassing things and like things you're just like, why did that happen? And you can't really comprehend it. And you're like, I wish I could like just like a lot of regret, right? And I think the best way to channel that regret or not get rid of it, but just like make it into something that's not just self-loathing. And because self-loathing at the end of the day is still like self-obsession, right? If you want to take that into the world in like a good way, I think the best way is somehow put it into a story, basically.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, not only can it be, you know, therapeutic and
Mm,
kind of cathartic, like,
mm.
you might end up making something that other people find useful or
Yeah,
beneficial. Like that's
yeah,
that's something that Brian McDonald talks about in his like some of his storytelling lectures. And I also remember Kazu Kibushi, who was one of my early mentors and got
yeah,
me my first comic
yeah.
gig. um, they've always talked about like, treating storytelling as like if you're releasing a story into the world, you have to treat it like a gift. Even if you're
Mm,
depicting something that might be, dark or a bit violent or something like that, there kind of needs to be, I'm not necessarily saying like like everything's all sunshine message, but there has to be a useful lesson in it.
yeah,
It can't just be self-indulgent,
yeah, 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 yeah,
just
yeah,
stream of consciousness. I'm just
yeah,
expressing myself kind of stuff. Like even if you
yeah,
are expressing yourself, there's something about it that has to be useful to the viewer and
yeah.
give them I even if it's something as simple as like, I don't know, Wizard of Oz, like a lesson about
Mm,
Dorothy having to realize all the stuff that she took for granted, uh,
mm,
you know, at home is what's
mm.
really valuable in life. All the things that she thought that she wanted to get away from the farm, but what she
Yeah, yeah,
needed was
yeah, yeah,
really her family there.
yeah.
And I think that like even with working with subject matter like like you've got where it's just ham-fisted violence, crime, action, gratuitous tobacco usage, which I love. Um, like there's still again, it might not be factual, but it's truthful, and I think that
Mm,
that's really important.
mm.
Um, oh, hold on one second. Someone's trying to call me. Let me
Yeah, no
mute
problem.
my phone. Okay. Um, Bitey thing just dropped in.
Yeah.
Awesome. Hey, welcome, Bitey thing. Yeah,
Hey,
definitely watch this show from the beginning, and also be sure to check out David's links I posted in the chat, and I'll post again in the chat a link to his short cartoon uh, that I was going to show on the stream here, but I couldn't get the audio desktop audio capture
mm,
figured out, so I'll link it in the chat again.
Yeah,
Um,
I think it's better if people watch it like after the show. They can like really like actually watch it. Yeah, so it's good.
yeah.
Yeah,
No, definitely. So with this image right here, what was going on? Like, obviously, I see a little bit of Full Metal Jacket, but
yeah.
like it seems like it's obviously you're taking from multiple eras of film and entertainment and stuff. What can you tell us about this masterpiece?
There's a lot of. I think it like the day after I watched Full Metal Jacket, I drew this, and the background is like the toothbrush advertisement that's very prominent in the movie. And then, do you know the artist Shaky Kane?
Shaky Cane. No, I don't think I do.
No, he's like his style is like a mix between Jack Kirby and Jeff Darrow, kind of, but not that detailed. But I really like his stuff, and I just want to do something similar to Shaky Kane and especially with the colors, but also like the like the blacks, the usage of like shadows and stuff.
Definitely have to check him out. I mean, I'm a big fan of Jack Kirby. Like he's
Mm,
one of the few original artists that could get me interested in anything like Cape stuff.
mm.
All right, so how about this image here? Like this is another favorite of mine. Like, all right, tell us about it.
This is also just basically Shaky Kane, but the I think I saw some movie with Gregory Peck, and then the no, I watched some movie with Gregory Peck and something with I think it was the first time I saw Die Hard right after I seen some movie with Gregory Peck, and then the body is Bruce Willis and the face is my attempt at drawing Gregory Peck, and then the rest is just I don't know, yeah, just like 60s Marvel, that kind of stuff.
Nice. Let's see if that's the last one.
Yeah.
I'll just go ahead. I'm just gonna like let this slideshow go.
Also, I didn't draw this in 2007 because I was only 3 years old in 2007, so
Oh
the
wow.
date is false.
Damn, where's that stupid thing looping? Oh well. Oh, go back to that. Hold on a second. No, I'm not trying to showcase my work. There we go.
And again, the Full Metal Jacket toothpaste brand is on one of like the banners.
Yeah, the third number 33 was it?
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like I knew that was familiar, and I was just trying to like place what that was from.
Yeah. I don't know why I
But
just really like that design.
yeah, I mean it's an appealing graphic.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so long term, like what are some of your I don't know, do you have any like major goals for like the coming year or 5 years?
Um, I like the long term is I want to do write and direct my own animated movies, but obviously that's like very hard because pretty much nobody has done it, and animation's kind of dying, and you need a lot of money. But I think maybe streaming can save because Netflix puts a lot of money into and HBO Max, so maybe that route. But at the end of the day, like I just want to do like animated feature films. That's basically the
Mhm.
goal. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I very briefly tried to go into animation. Like I,
Mm.
went to Cal Arts for just a short summer program, and while I like learned so much from it, I realized like just how insane the animation process
Yeah.
is, and like just the kind of the studio ladder I would have to
Yeah.
climb to be able to tell my own stories was so
Yeah.
freaking tall. I basically just went like man, I do not have the patience and attention span for it. So that's why I got into comics.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't know, like I do think like your animations are friggin' amazing. They're I think they're some of the funniest and best like stuff out there. Uh in this weird corner of ours on of the internet. But I don't like I at the same time, like I think you could easily, find a pretty serious audience with
Mm.
comics and stuff, just because
Mm.
with comics you can tell like a movie scaled story
Yeah, yeah,
on
definitely.
a basically on just like a zero budget. You know, all
Yeah,
you need is just the time to just do the comic
yeah,
pages.
exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think yeah, that's like there's a lot of freedom. Like the comic you're showing right now is the one I'm kind of doing right now, and I'm like the thing about comics and animation is like right now when I do comics on my own, I can do what amounts to or what equates to like in terms of the story, it could be like a movie because I can make it as long as I want if it's a comic. But if it's an animated short, like the last one, it took me literally a year to do 5 minutes and 30 seconds. So yeah,
Yeah, I mean that's why I love comics is like again, you
mm,
can tell like a gigantic mega
yeah,
budget story on zero
yeah,
budget. You know, there's no limit to what you can put onto a page other
mm,
than your own artistic abilities.
mm. And
I
also
mean, there. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
just like I think comics, the difference between comics and why I like both of them is like after you've done animation, the reason I do like animation and then comics is like because animation is very rigid and you have to plan out everything because it's so time consuming. And if you fail, it's like it's a lot of wasted hours. But with comics, it's more like improvisation and like spur of the moment, and you don't have to like I don't know where this story, for instance, is gonna go 100%, but I kind of like I make it up as long as I go along, and I think like the freedom that's the freedom of comics.
Yeah, definitely. Like in my case, like I'm a big proponent of like, you know, before I start any story, I always
Mm,
try to make sure I've got the ending
mm,
completely figured out. But you can leave so much room in
mm.
between, you know, your beginning and your end to discover
Yeah, yeah.
stuff in the story, things that you probably, you know, you wouldn't have planned for in the original outline or script or
Mm,
whatever. And yeah, you can't really do that with animation. I mean, you're on
mm.
such extremely limited time and
Yeah,
probably a budget as well if you know if you're working with
yeah,
a studio or anything like that. Like, yeah,
yeah.
you don't have as much creative freedom. You have to kind of like know from the start what you're going to do and stick to it.
Mm,
But I mean, yeah, that's why like if you're gonna do any more comics, like I definitely will have to have you back on to promote them. Um, also, now if people want to get your book, Dreams of Ultraviolence, I know that the store online it ships
in
only to the
Danish, yeah,
EU, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Is there any way for people either in like Asia or North America or outside of Europe to get a hold of it?
Yeah, because right now there aren't that many customers, so you can write to me personally. Like I can put my email in the comments, and you can. Yeah, I've sold I think 15 or 20 books through just through email
Oh,
to
nice.
America, and yeah, yeah.
I'd be surprised if there wasn't just some e-commerce page you could probably set up for
Mm,
a quick link to that. Like, I don't know, Big Cartel or Shopify or something like that. And then
mm,
you just do your own shipping. So yeah, folks, if you want to get David's book, Dreams of Ultraviolence, which I highly recommend, like I greatly enjoyed it, definitely contact him. Y'all can work out the details for payment and shipping and
yep.
whatnot. I also like that you did it in like super widescreen format. Like the only other book I have that I think does this is 300 by Frank Miller.
uh,
Like, were you just kind of thinking in like movie composition mode when you decided to do it wide like that?
uh, yeah, there's that because like so it looks more like a movie, but also there's a comic by Daniel Klaus. You know him?
I'm not sure what has he done.
He did Ghost World and Eight Ball.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
that guy. Yeah, yeah. He published like a comic strip version of his one of his comic called Ice Haven, and I really like that. And it's basically yeah, it's basically I took it from there.
nice. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
Um,
And also my next comic, the one I'm doing right now, I think I'll just put it as like a PDF for free because I tried to pitch it to some like small Danish publishing companies, and I of course I get why they. It's very hard to sell this stuff. Even this one, the Dreams of Ultraviolence, like it sold
mhm.
very badly in Denmark because like there's essentially there's in Denmark the comic book audience there's only one audience, and that's or two. That's manga and DC and Marvel, this kind of stuff. So to
Ugh.
get your own, it's very hard. Yeah.
And so they don't even read like European comics in there, like they don't read like the Bandes Dessinées or whatever it's called.
Yeah, we do. We there is, of course, Tintin. Do you know
Oh
Tintin?
yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
of
yeah, yeah, very
course.
famous in Europe, and of course there is a lot of independent comics, but just this kind of stuff, like the stuff we talked about, like Tarantino and Paul Schrader and like Stephen Chow, all this kind of like genre. Uh, that's not like super mainstream science fiction or something. People don't really, they're not really into that in Denmark.
That's too bad. I mean, I don't know. I do think if you can do like a PDF version or some kind of digital version, yeah, it's
Mm.
like it's not the same as being able to physically,
Yeah,
uh, own the book. But like, I still think like being able to experience the story is
yeah,
the most important thing.
yeah.
Yeah, I think the best way to experience it is by holding the book in your hands. But I mean, with the way shipping costs are right now,
Mm,
I think digital might not be as a regrettable an option as it used to be.
mm.
And you can yeah,
Also,
you can easily sell a PDF comic on Gumroad for, a few bucks or whatever,
yeah,
and, it doesn't cost you any time or money,
yeah,
uh, get it to people that way.
yeah. And like for me, selling, like because I have essentially no audience, and even this comic, like the only audience I had for it was the publishing company's pre-existing audience.
Mhm. That's
So
a
like,
bit tough, yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's easier. Just like when I put the cartoon for free on YouTube, everybody can watch it. I think I'll do the same with the next comic.
That's what I mean, personally, that's what I would recommend
Mm,
just from what I've seen, like, being able to be your own marketing and promotion and stuff. Yeah, it is a slow grind because,
mm,
you have to you just have to be available and regular online, like, posting stuff where people can discover it and interact with it and all that. But at the same time, like, if you when you rely on a publisher, unless they have like a huge
yeah,
audience,
yeah,
you can't really count on,
mm,
explosive growth from that. Like, there's even like, take for example, like, I don't know, like, Image Comics in the US. Like, yeah, they're from what I understand, they're still pretty good for like getting your books printed and stuff, but they don't promote your work for
mm,
you.
mm,
So it's yeah, you're better off like just
yeah,
holding on to your own intellectual property rights, I guess,
yeah,
and just using the internet however you can,
yeah,
to build that audience. Like, I think
definitely.
for me, like the most effective growth came from, uh, aside from just posting my artwork on social media as regularly as I can, but live streaming on Twitch as I'm making stuff,
Mm,
because not I don't always have like finished artwork to share every week or
yeah,
every day. So the next best thing is to at least like make it accessible online while I'm working on that artwork. And so I
mm,
do that through, Twitch live streaming. An animator friend of mine actually goes by, his name is Matthew Gafford. He's doing something called A Fox in Space, which it's like Star Fox meets Taxi Driver. It's a fan film, but it's like the just smokiest, like grittiest retake on it. Like, I'm not into fan art or reboots and stuff, and this is a huge exception. And
mm,
part of what's built up his audience was live streaming on Twitch as he's animating, and
mm,
just even though, yeah, he's just doing like little frame by frame
yeah, yeah,
stuff,
yeah,
he has like ambient music going. He's got kind of a cool stream setup. So
yeah, yeah,
when people tune in, there's a little bit of a studio
mm,
experience that they're stepping into. And so I don't
yeah,
know if live streaming is an option for you or if it's something that matches with your the way your attention span works, but that could possibly be an option.
yeah. I don't know, because when I animate, I do it like 2 hours a day, and it's split up. So it's
Mhm.
I don't know if it's like, and also it's like 6 o'clock in the morning. So because I have to go to school, so I don't know if live streaming is maybe on the weekends. I don't know.
Yeah. So are you what are you in where are you in what are you doing in school right now? Are you in you're in college at the moment, right?
No, it's basically what's American high school. It's
Oh,
like
geez. Wow, you're really young then.
yeah. No, but I'm in the last year, so I'm almost finished that. And also we
Okay, so
finish
you're a boomer
later
then.
than what?
You're a boomer then.
Yeah. But yeah, and then when I'm done with this, I would like to go to animation school in Denmark, but I'm not sure I can apply next year. There's something with that, and I have to figure out like how to apply and stuff. But that's basically the plan.
I hope it works out. I mean, I don't know what animation school in Denmark is like compared to the US. I just know like over
Mm.
here, it's like you're gonna if you go to art school in the US, you're looking at like graduating with like over $100,000 in debt and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
So hopefully that's not the case where you're at.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's like $10,000, ten
Really?
thousand US dollars. Yeah,
For the whole thing?
I don't know if it's each year or the whole thing.
I mean, even if it's just each year,
Yeah.
I mean that stacks up, but that's not too bad.
No, no,
That's
no.
not
Of course,
that's
not.
not
Yeah,
too awful. Like that
yeah,
can be paid off
yeah,
uh manageably. So
yeah.
yeah, man, like best of luck with that. Like yeah, because I'd really like to, see your I mean, I think your work is so excellent as it is, but it's like I think like, with a bit of that kind of structured,
Mm,
academic training on it, like
yeah.
I just think this stuff is gonna explode.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I don't know how to animate at all. Like, animating for me is I've done it for 5 years, and I've only really like actually done it for like 2 years, maybe 3 years, you could say. But it's like I learned like I've never gone to school, so it looks really bad. But I think it would help a lot to like have a teacher behind me and say like, do this instead of just me constantly guessing what to do. Yeah.
Nice. We got a super chat from Colin Brefka. I don't know why my freaking super chats don't display. I'm gonna have to get this figured out. But
Mm,
Colin said, "Hey Reagan, great guest. Thanks for the stream. Thanks for tuning in, Colin. Colin's he's a composer, a friend of mine. Who I don't know if you ever need to commission any music at some point.
mm,
I put you in touch with him. He's
mm,
done some really good stuff.
definitely.
Oh yeah, on the topic of music, like do you have any music inspirations while you're creating like this stuff? Because like when I look at your
Yeah.
work, I do get a sense of a soundtrack in my head. Like it's I'm trying to think of some of it. Some of what I think of is, did you ever see the movie The Black Lizard from the
No.
1960s?
No.
So it's I can't remember the oh gosh, I can't remember who directed it, but it's like a really super campy 60s Japanese crime film that features this drag queen criminal mastermind who kidnaps beautiful people and turns them into like taxidermied to, decorate her island villain lair. And
Yeah.
Yukio Mishima cameos in it as a taxidermied gangster. I'll send you the link, but it's like the music in that is kind of like what I get when I look at some of your work. So like who are some of your I don't know, audio inspirations?
I I listen to a lot of music and a lot of different music, but I don't know if, well, like for each project, like for the gangster, they say you're a wise guy. Um, Basically like Frank Sinatra, Elvis, and Dean Martin, all this stuff. Like just the like if it was a movie, the basically the songs that would fit the movie is kind of my inspirations. But I don't maybe okay, this is maybe it sounds a bit strange, but like Travis Scott,
All
just
right.
because I'm a kid and everybody listen. But I genuinely I think like some like a lot of the song obviously just pop and feel good and this stuff. But there's like the way he shows off. I I think like the thing music can do is it can make you feel good about yourself. And with art, you can when you look at it, you can maybe like connect to it or do something like that. But like the way that Travis Scott he boasts, I try maybe to do a little bit of that when, for instance, when I draw something like this, like make it so over the top and like really show you like the same. Yeah, I don't know. It sounds kind of like now I sound like a douchebag, but yeah,
No, no, I get what you're doing though. Like, I mean, it's your stuff has a certain imagined audio quality to it, which
Mm.
like, I greatly love. I got a question from Modern Businessman who
Yeah,
asks, best way to contact him. I'm assuming he means best way to contact you.
yeah.
What are how can people get in touch with you?
My Instagram and Twitter are both in your description. You can just DM me or yeah, follow me and comment or something. Yeah,
All right, cool. Since we're coming up on an hour here, or we're already at an hour, if anybody has any final questions, go ahead and pop them in the chat. We'll go for just like a probably a few more minutes before we wrap up and all that.
yeah.
And so, do you have a YouTube channel yet?
Yes, it's called, but I deleted all the videos.
Oh,
But I'll post the no, but they're all on the new grounds. But I'll post. I'll do a comment and you can pin it or something. Yeah,
okay, cool. Yeah, yeah. Just send me the link whenever that's ready, and I'll make sure that that gets into the video description here. And you said
yeah.
that the new cartoon will be coming out tomorrow. You said.
I'm still waiting for the sound effects, but it should basically be 24 hours from right now.
Okay, excellent. Is it now without spoiling anything? Can you tell us like what to expect or what the premise might be?
Um, I can tell you like, okay, should I tell you the twist?
Nah, don't tell us the
Okay,
twist. That would be
okay,
a that'd probably be a spoiler.
okay, okay. I can say the whole thing revolves around um this kind of the audience and the main character gets taken aback by a revelation that happens,
Okay.
and it's about a man and a woman who, yeah, it's about a man and a woman. Yeah,
All right.
that's all I can say. Yeah,
Cool. Well, I mean, I've seen enough of your animations to know that I've got something to look forward to, and the rest of you all better tune into it as well. So, Modern Businessman asks, favorite genre of music for you?
favorite genre. Uh, Again, it's like a little bit with what I said in the beginning about this. Like we have this idealized version of America in, or I have. I don't know if everybody else has it, but I really like country music, but not like the rock kind of 80s, 90s country, but like stuff like very old. I don't know why, but like, do you know Roscoe Combe? I think his name is.
I've heard the name, but I wouldn't be able to match a
Yeah,
song to him if I heard it.
like basically like very old American folk songs. I really like that for some reason.
Nice.
There's something very like personal, and also they're recorded on these very bad gramophones, and I don't know. I just yeah.
No, I definitely I tend to like that stuff too. Like when I
Mm.
listen to country, like yeah, I'm not into cow pop or
Yeah, yeah,
tractor rap or anything like that. Like I
yeah.
like I like the stuff where it's like I can tell like if I listen to the singer and like I'm not worried if I'm not worried that he's going to either drink himself to death or put a gun or hold a gun to his head,
Yeah,
then it's not real country. Like
yeah.
it has to be like I need to be able to sense like
Yeah, yeah,
some real sadness to it.
yeah, 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 yeah. Especially like the old. Do you know the movie? Oh brother, where art thou?
Oh yeah, I'm very
Yeah,
familiar
like the
with
main
that.
song in that, I was obsessed with that song for like a year or something, and then I went to the Wikipedia and I've tracked down like every version of it and the original and the covers and all that, and yeah, I really like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'm definitely into that too. If uh this is not technically country, but
Uh-huh.
there's a band called Fields of the Nephilim that I would recommend. They're like 80s goth rock, but they
Mm.
have like this weird like dark occult spaghetti western kind of vibe to everything they're doing, and they're from the UK.
Yeah,
So I don't know. Like I there's this weird. I like how other countries latch on to like
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
Western in ways that Americans don't. Because I don't know, maybe we take it for granted, or it's kind of
Mm.
seen as like, oh, that's corny. That's what my grandpa was into.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
That kind of smug attitude.
yeah,
Like for example, like I noticed a lot of French, Spanish, and Italian
yeah.
comic artists, a lot of them they love doing westerns and stuff,
Mm.
and almost nobody in the US does
Yeah,
western themed comics,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and they're
Yeah,
really good.
yeah, yeah, yeah. All that stuff, yeah. Definitely.
Well, I think we're coming up to the end here, so David, just to wrap things up, once again, we can find you on Newgrounds, Instagram, Twitter. Is
Yep.
there anywhere else you would like me to funnel people towards where they can find you?
No.
All right, cool. I'll make sure that all those links are, yeah, they're all functioning. I already
Yep.
checked them
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I'm responsible like that. But yeah, folks, David will have another cartoon out within probably sometime around the next 24 hours. I will be
Yeah,
sharing it on my social medias, and I'll also post a link in the video information here too when that goes live.
yeah.
So keep an eye out for that, and make sure you're following David. Like I I know great power when I see it, and like the David,
Thanks.
how old are you? You're 18?
I'm 18, yeah.
Okay, you're 18. Like, dude, like if you're this far along at age 18, like I have foreseen this, and I have flawless intuition with these kinds of things. I do seriously think that like your stuff is going to explode, and people who tuned in to this stream or watched this video and gave it a thumbs up and shared it with their friends uh, will look back on these days and be like, "Yeah, I was there back before anybody else found out about it." So yeah, folks, make sure you're all following David.
Thanks a
If you don't
lot.
follow David, I'm gonna find you and I'm gonna follow you into a dark alley. So make sure you all tune in to his cartoons on Newgrounds and stuff, and check him out. Anyways, David, any parting words from you?
No, other than go watch my cartoon tomorrow, everybody. I think it's a bit different from the comics. There's no violence at all, but I think you're gonna like it.
Awesome. Well, I know we will. And David, thank you so much for your time. This was a great talk. We'll definitely be in touch more in the future, and yeah, keep me updated on your projects.
Thanks, and thanks
All
for
right.
having me on. This was great.
All right, man. Thanks again to you too. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you all around.